Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where currently we're slightly upset at Ukraine for invading Maghreb here. There's nothing we can do about it though. What we need to do right now is continue to work on our economy. And we've got our motor industry in Syria being worked on. We're also working on a government administration in Hejaz. And we've, at this juncture, got 74 bureaucracy. So we can probably work on incorporating at least one state. I'm looking for relatively cheap ones. That's 129. That's not that cheap. There's a number around 50 here. We could do one of those. Lazio is expensive. Amelia is relatively expensive. Okay, so it's going to be one of these down here that we can do. And I kind of want to go with the most expensive one, which is going to be Tunisia. So we'll get that underway for now. And we're also, of course, going to be continuing to build. So this motor industry in Syria is going to be useful for us in multiple ways. It's going to help us get some actual motor industry production, and it's going to give solid demand for steel, which is definitely needed at this time. Now, we're keeping an eye on this. We don't want to go too far into debt. I think for right now, we're going to finish up our motor industry in Syria, and then we're probably going to pause and work our way out of debt for a little while. That said, our GDP is absolutely doing much better. It's not, wonderful, but it is better, for sure. So we're not working on a law change right now. Is there one that we want to do? Not really. We could try land-based taxation again. That would boost our revenue. So there's that. I mean, it wouldn't make people that upset, but I don't even think this is necessary at this time. But we can try and see if it happens. We almost had it before, but we rolled incredibly badly right at the end. Just terrible luck. Whatever, it's fine. So at this point, our motor industry is 18 weeks out, and yeah, I think we finish up that. We finish up our government administration. We're actually pretty negative in our bureaucracy right now. We do have that minus 5% timed modifier from dealing with corruption. When is that going to be gone? Let's check our modifiers here. 10 months? Okay, noted. Of course, this declared bankruptcy is going to be gone fairly soon as well, in 21 months, and that's very good. So that'll be gone slightly after the start of the game, quote-unquote, the, canonical start date of Victoria 3. So that's fine. We're not quite to that point yet, so we're almost to the start of the game right now. So that's a good sign. We've managed to fix a lot of our problems. So this government administration is finishing up. And our debt is kind of exploding right now, and that's because we are only building one private construction. Expanding a railway in Lebanon, I like that. That's a pretty solid construction. So we just finished a government administration. We're probably going to remain negative in our bureaucracy for a while here, if I had to guess. So that's absolutely fine for the moment, but it's not ideal, that's for sure. But that minus 5% is going to help us significantly once that goes away. So that seems fine for right now. We're going to work on incorporating more states for the time being. The landowners are petitioning us to pass tenant farmers. They're already happy by us doing land-based taxation. This would lose us 5 legitimacy. And I think that'll drop us down a tier, won't it? Oh, we're already in contested. So this doesn't matter then. We'll do that. Sounds good. Social banditry. We just out of the gate immediately with the 16% stall roll. I love it. So we can try to hunt down the bandits, but I don't know that it's going to be great. Let's see how we roll. Minus 10. Okay. Bad luck. If it doesn't pass, it's not the end of the world. We're not 1000% reliant on this passing, right? So it's okay. So at this point, motor industries in Syria are 3 weeks away from finishing. How are we doing on our debt to income ratio? We definitely need to do something about it. No doubt about that. So let's get this motor industry finished in Syria, and then I think we should just pause our construction for a little bit and work our way out. Ooh. A university. Done. Absolutely. We would love to have a university. Okay, we need to pause our construction at this time. We've finished up that motor industry. So that motor industry is up here in Syria, and as we see here, it's not currently hiring. It won't try until 16 December, so that's okay. So we'll have that done very shortly here. Yeah, next week, I think, is when that's going to happen. So this will start to hire in some people, and that'll drive up the demand for steel, which will be very, very good. Yeah, we can see they're immediately hiring in, and that is excellent for right now. So that's dealing with our motor industries issue. So that looks good. And that's going to also balance out with the steel, and that looks great. We can support more declared interests. I don't care about that right now. So currently, tools are expensive. Our next construction is a tooling workshop. So that is absolutely noted. Now, you'll notice our GDP has declined, and that's probably because we're not constructing at this moment. Every time, I blame Tlatuani. I'm always flummoxed by the fact that you can even do this. Well, this time we passed to we passed a consideration on land-based taxation, so that's not bad. That was a decent roll there. We have a 45% acceptance, or rather advanced chance, so we should be able to get this passed, theoretically. Right? Hopefully? Bahrain is damaging relations. Okay, I mean, are we scared of Bahrain? No. So that's not a problem. We need to get our economy properly online, though, and we're kind of close to it at this point. We're starting the snowball. It's very good to be starting the snowball this early, by the way. We are technically within the period of Victoria at this point. I think it starts on January 1st, 1836. So that's definitely a good sign for us. Hydraulic cranes have been unlocked, and that allows us to do bulk trading in our trade centers. And that may not be a bad thing. Let's take a look at that. So our trade centers down here, I believe, can now do bulk trading. Honestly, we want to produce more merchant marine. So let's do that. That should reduce our reliance on subsidies on our ports. Although our trade centers are the biggest subsidy, but that's understood. We'll see how that goes. So 8.4 million at this point. Yeah, we're negative in our bureaucracy, but that should be going away relatively soon. At this point, 10 weeks? Okay, yeah, that's not very concerning. So that looks great, and we're working our way slowly out of this debt. We're getting our debt snowball rolling. Subsidies are not that much now. 1.13k. That's not bad. That is definitely not bad. I like it. Now we are negative on our authority, and do we have a consumption tax that's doing nothing for us? I mean, there's this one. This is basically nothing. Let's get rid of that. That'll put us positive in our authority. Okay, we hit a debate on our law change here. Actually, yeah, let us mourn the loss of a great leader. We'll bump this up to 29%. Okay, so we're not working on a technology tree at this point. We got quinine, and that is a huge, huge deal. Because if we come down over here, we can see that it removes all the effects of malaria in our owned colonies and states. That is huge. Absolutely enormous. Next up is central banking, which would boost our minting by 10%. That's interesting. And unlocking funding lobbies. Now, this is going to unlock on its own in 10 to 17 weeks. We don't need to choose this. That's a very, very good thing for us. I don't think that we want to be in society at this point. Do we need anything in production? The Bessemer process may not be a bad idea, but steel mills aren't really that big of a deal right now. Water tube boilers would be very useful, though. That's for sure. I think we go for that. We just want to boost our economy so that we can pivot into military. That's the idea here. We'll see if it ever actually happens. I'm very bad at pivoting into military in Victoria. It always just ends up being economy forever. But we'll see. We will see. So we're getting this debt paid off, and how much debt do we actually have? Well, we have almost $1 million. So it's going to be a while before this debt gets paid. I'm hoping to see some privatization happening with our investment pool, but as of right now, that is not occurring. So that's noted. But I'm not noticing any absolutely major issues here at this time. So I'm reasonably okay with just working on paying off our debt. And yeah, this debt is just going to continue to snowball, and it's going to get better and better and better and better for us. But it is going to take a while at the current rate to pay this off. If we didn't have the interest payments, it would still take a while. So that's understood. I want to check in on how our motor industry and steel mill are doing at this point. That is not bad. Okay, I'm pretty content with that. They're both doing quite well. So, at this point, tools are expensive. That's understood. We do have a railway going in, and the manor houses... Oh, yes. Privatize those tobacco plantations. Yes, please. That would be huge. I don't think they did. Sadly. But I would be delighted if they did. That would go a long ways towards paying off our debt. That would be probably, what, 25% of our current debt? That would be a big deal. I'd be very happy to see that happen. Unfortunately, I don't think that's actually going to happen. But we are seeing a significant increase in our income right now. Wow, we just progressed up to adoption on land-based taxation. Are we rolling well this time? Well, so far we are. There was that initial stall out of the gate, but that's not so bad. So we can see out over here that we are colonizing a lot faster now that we got that done. And we definitely want to get our colonial affairs institution up. But for now, we just don't have the bureaucracy for it. And we, of course, and we want to put the bureaucracy into other things overall. So that's fine for the time being. I do think that we should probably think about putting in a government administration somewhere. We are going to need two additional government administrations in Campania. And actually, we're making progress there. So I'm going to put these in, but I'm going to do the tooling workshop first, and then the government administration, then the logging camp, then the government administration. But we're not ready to pay this off yet. More loyalists. I like loyalists. Let's go with that for now. So how are we doing on that debt? Well, it's down to 800K. That is a significant boost, and our minting is going to go up by what, like 1K? Once we get that new technology that's very, very soon going to arrive? Yeah, in like a week or two. So that's going to boost our income by about 1K. So that's going to be very solid as well. We've definitely got a snowball rolling here. Beautiful. That's also going to reduce our interest rate. So our interest is going to drop. What is our current interest rate? I mean, we've got that declared bankruptcy for another 5 months, but that's nearly gone at this point. So if we check in on our interest rate, 15.6% is our current interest rate. Okay. I mean, it's rough, no doubt about it. But it's not too bad. So land-based taxation might just go through here. And if that happened, that would be huge. This is at peace now. Are you? Okay, yeah, you are indeed a protectorate of Ukraine. I'm not surprised about that. I'm kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'd really like to see some privatization happening here, but the financial districts are really interested in building new buildings. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. The financial districts building new buildings will expand our economic base, and that is a good thing. We hit an advance here, okay, so 15% enactment success chance, or 10%, and the landowners would get more power. We're going to take the 15, thank you very much. The landowners are already the most powerful. We do not need them to be more powerful. That would be probably a bad thing, actually. So that all looks good for now. We are going to be out of debt eventually, but that's certainly going to take some time. 2.13k interest at this point is not super significant, but we would definitely like to get that finished. There's our first time being at 9 million. Nice. So that GDP is definitely improving, but we want to have it improve more. No doubt about that. So for the moment, we're happy with just chilling. I am noticing that our convoy amount is slowly dropping, so that's not necessarily ideal. Do we have all of our ports on cargo port? We do. Okay. We don't have all of them subsidized, though, so that's noted. I'm going to try turning off our port subsidies and seeing what happens. This might cause a convoy issue, but it might not. I'm also going to turn off our trade center subsidies. So our subsidies are currently gone. And we'll see what that does to us. It might create problems. Iron, ammunition, and small arms and tools are all currently expensive. Fair enough. So net negative on the convoys. That is definitely not ideal. Okay. Where is this going to end up at? I think that what that means is that we should probably subsidize the ports. This is all of the ports being subsidized, though. And I'm only going to subsidize, like, a couple of ports. So let's subsidize, for now, the port in Palestine. So let's see here. Where's the button to only subsidize this port? I guess it's in here? Okay. So we'll do that for now, and that will get us more convoy production, but we're going to continue to lose convoy production from some other ports. So I believe this port here was subsidized previously. Let's go ahead and do that. And then this port over here, let's subsidize this one. Advance again. Okay. -6. Okay. This isn't all that much in the subsidies for right now. So this is still a significant cut in our subsidies. Engine shortage? Really? I mean, yeah, but we're going to be hiring in here. So we've got lots of room there. That's probably just things moving around because we were changing our subsidies and changing our convoys. That's likely all that was. For now, though, I'm pretty happy with our current financial situation, and I'm going to be even more happier once land-based taxation comes in because we're expecting an additional, like, 20k on that, and we might be able to build continuously with that. That would be phenomenal if we were able to. So we'll see what happens with it. For the moment, we are positive in everything, including bureaucracy, and that's wonderful. I'm assuming our declared bankruptcy malice is gone now? Yes. We are still an untrustworthy country. Fair enough. We broke our agreement, but infamy decay doesn't really matter to us right now. We're not generating infamy, right? So that's not very relevant. Okay, so the way that this is settling out is ammunition and tools are expensive. So I wouldn't mind an ammunition factory. Where do we have one right now? We do in Algiers. Okay. Interesting. What's going on with that? This is Tunisia. This is Algiers. So what's going on with this right now? We're just having difficulty getting it over to here. Okay. Noted. So it's feeding from this lead mine, and explosives are definitely a bit of an expensive cost for them here, but overall, I'm not too concerned about that. Okay, so we're about done with our debt. We've got 227k left, but that's really not too bad. We can start construction very soon, but I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens with land-based taxation here. We've got a 61% chance of it passing. And the question is, are we being lied to? Because we were told that if we passed this, this is not currently telling us from that tooltip. But the change in revenue from current tax law, 23.7K. That's what we're expecting out of this. And there we go. We've got it. So, our tax revenue went down. So there's that. Let's see if it comes back up eventually. We may have been lied to. I don't know. We'll see. It definitely went a little bit down. Okay, now it's starting to come up. It may take some time for that to take effect. So tools, iron, ammunition. That's understood. I kind of feel like we should build a munitions plant somewhere in this region over here. So I'm wondering about 111K, 11.3, 45.3, 9K, 57K. So really Syria is the place where we should build this if we're going to. So I'll put that in there, and then I'm also interested in probably expanding some iron mines here, potentially in Palestine, or the Peloponnese would actually... Well, Israeli Constantine would actually be the highest earning according to this. Minus 15% construction efficiency there. Done. Okay, so that is going to be brought up. We've already got this in the Peloponnese, so I think we'll do something kind of like this, actually. No. Something like this-ish. Okay, something like that. We're going to want to have some amount of construction happening. This is, of course, very slow out in Campania. This is an unincorporated state and has 32% turmoil. So we may not want to actually build these here yet, but eventually we're going to want to, and maybe we just power through it. Government administrations don't take that long anyway. So let's just do something like that. And where did this build? I didn't want that. Okay, let's do something like this, and that'll be relatively fine. They don't take that long to build anyway. It's going to be longer, but that's fine. The Brave Engineer, huh? What do we got going on here? -5 infrastructure in Palestine is probably fine. This would give the trade unions additional support. I guess that's fine. I don't think they even exist right now. Yeah, they don't even exist right now. So that seems okay. A famous cafe now too, huh? The landowners getting more political power is not ideal. Okay, what else do we want to do for law changes now that we've got that done? Well, there's really not that much that I want to change here. There's definitely things that I want to change, like getting us a health system. For that, I think we'd need to have the rabbinical council in our government, and if we were to do that... That's doable. So we can do that, and then the idea would be that we would go to charity hospitals. This is still not available, because enactment success chance is not above 0. Why is it not above 0? The Rabbinical Council should be super into that. I guess we'll give it a little bit and see if it updates. They are super into it. It's just not giving us enough success chance, I guess. Huh. That's surprising to me. I want to have some form of health system. That would be ideal. That'll help our population significantly. But for now, the intelligentsia will leave this. Sure, that's fine. They can do that. So at this moment, we are just about out of debt. And that's very, very good. Now, what's our current taxation status at? Yeah, we're pretty up there. We could consider boosting our government wages here. That would actually bring up our intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie appeal. And it would bring up our prestige. I don't care about any of those things right now. That's the thing. So that's kind of irrelevant. We are going to be out of debt in like 3 weeks, so let's just let that happen for now. And then we can start thinking about our next construction steps. I see a steel mill going into Israeli Konya. Okay. I don't mind that. That'll definitely be a good thing. But we need to get our economy very, very, very much stronger than this. We'll get there. We're very close at this point to breaking our economy wide open, and that's going to be phenomenal. At this point, we've got money in our gold reserves. Fantastic. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to get some of this construction done, and we're going to really start boosting up our economy significantly. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. Hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on. Something just happened. Look at this. We'll talk about this next episode. But Ukraine is offering us... build privileges, trade privileges, and positive relations. They're cordial with us at this point. That's wild. We'll deal with that next episode. See you all then.